Hey, y'all. Welcome. This is Christine Dean, the Networking Diva. Excited to share yet another one of my friends with you. This is Kyle Wentworth. Welcome, Kyle.
Thanks, Christine. It's great to see you.
I'm excited to have you on because we're going to talk a little bit more about one of my favorite subjects, right? We like to talk about the Veterans Ranch. Kyle serves on the Veterans Ranch. What is it that you do for us at the Veterans Ranch? I know it's techie stuff, but it's probably mostly over my head.
Probably not too much. So I'm the Chief Technical Officer for the Veterans Ranch. So what I do as a service to the group of the board of directors and to the leadership is to provide technology vision and mission progress for the organization to ensure that proper technology solutions are chosen, implemented, secured, and managed correctly. I train the staff on how to use those solutions, and I implement those solutions. We also support and manage the web infrastructure along with a little bit of help from you and a lot of the graphics and whatnot that is produced for the site. And we manage and service that website through our web development arm.
All right, I'm just going to break this down into English, okay? So web something tech, blah, blah. Give us one little example of something that you've done that we can go, oh, I know what that means.
So recently we migrated from Google to Microsoft and set up licensing and the Microsoft tenant where all your user accounts exists in Microsoft's platform for all of the members of the organization using Microsoft's non-for-profit licensing as a solution to provide in a lot of capacity free or very discounted licenses for the Veterans Ranch to be able to use to provide their mission. And then we migrated a while back, but we migrated the website to our web hosting and management platform, and then shorted up and secured it and put it into a routine of maintenance to keep it secure. So
there we go. Nerd Speak 101. There it is.
Nerd Speak 101.
So some of the stuff that you do around here, right? So the technology side of it, I dabble, but you are the master and I will bow down every time to your expertise. So I love having you around because then I don't have to do that kind of stuff.
It's great news. That's great. Love to be a part of it.
Well, so your experience with that, you didn't just start doing it with the ranch, right? This is something you've been doing for a while, right?
For two weeks.
I'm totally going to hand you my technology then.
I started in the IT industry when I was very young, back in the 70s, and in the middle of the 70s, and have grown that through the business culture. Before joining the Army, I was an information systems security officer in the Army. I worked at Los Alamos for a while, inventing technologies and incorporating security technologies for the government. And then throughout my time in the military, as well as after Los Alamos, I've been in the managed IT services space. So for 30 years almost, I founded and owned and operated a managed IT services company out of Grand Rapids, Michigan, and successfully serviced clients for 29 years with a very high 98% client retention rate over the last 20 years of that business. Very, very strong employee retention rate as well. And just a pride for taking care of your clients the correct way in an ethical manner of supporting those clients who don't understand technology as it comes. So eliminating that pain is what our task has always been.
Well, and I could see that, right? Because there's certain industries where it just seems kind of almost like magic voodoo. How did they do that? I don't know. They're like magic, right? So, IT is kind of that space, kind of like if somebody's going to fix your car, right? We take it in and we're like, oh my goodness, they're going to charge me $1 million. I don't even know what they're saying, but they say it needs to be fixed. That's how it feels like with IT too. So
it's pretty intense.
So having somebody that has the client retention like that and the employee retention really says a lot about the culture and how well you take care of people. So I love that about you, Kyle. You're a team player and you like to help others, and that big giving heart. I think that's kind of what pulled you into the Veterans Ranch, right? How did you get involved with the Veterans Ranch?
So through another organization that JR and I, as well as you, all belong to, for a period of time. We met through that organization which involved veterans, and just kind of hit it off, struck a familiar passion and vision towards the ministry of supporting veterans in need. And it just blossomed from there.
Well, and that's really what it is about the veteran organizations is they kind of work together, play in the same circles, help each other. And really, it's all about helping the veterans. So, but you're veteran. Yes, I know you said you were in the Army. However, you have a long family history of this, don't you?
We do. 8 siblings and my dad make 9 of us that were active duty. Dad was in World War II and Korean War. Funny factoid about Dad's beginning history in the military. The first, and I didn't find out till I was 16 years old. So Dad retired in 63 after 20 plus years in the military. And when I was 16 years old, I was born several years after he got out of the military. And after 16 years old, I was finally introduced to a curious factoid that my dad dated Shirley Temple for 3 years while he was in the military when he was during World War II. So that was a very interesting thing. And one of Dad's best friends used to call our house all the time when I was young and would ask, "Hey, Kyle, this is Mr. Black. Can I talk to your dad?" Not realizing that was Shirley Temple's husband. So it was a soldier friend of Dad's when he was in World War II and Dad left Europe for a period of time. When he came back, Shirley Temple was no longer his. So that's kind of how that story all ran. But yeah, Dad started in the Navy during World War II, in the beginning of World War II, and then out of the Navy and into the Army Air Corps for reasons of another story time. And then while he was in the Army Air Corps in 1947, when the Army and the Air Force split, Dad stayed in the Air Force and then retired from the Air Force after the Korean War. So 8 of us siblings have been active duty. And just recently put together a collage picture of that memorial, which is really kind of cool. I'll share it on the page after we're done.
Oh, that would be nice. Yeah. It's hard to imagine that many siblings all serving in service. My son served in the Air Force and, I was a hot mess until I kind of adjusted to that, right? Because there's a certain level of patriotism, right? And you want your kids to give back and be proud of their country. And you love that fact that they're serving. And the other side is like, what if something happens, right? The mom panic sets in and it's trying to balance that, right? Your poor mother.
There were several spouses of us siblings who were also active duty military, and then a few dozen of our nephews and nieces have also been active duty.
Wow, that's a large serving family. And thanks, y'all, for doing it. When you look at statistically across the United States, how many people serve? And really, it's not that large of a number. I think we're at 1% or something, right?
It's less, yeah.
Is it less than that now? Yeah. So it's a really small amount. So to have that many concentrated in one family, that's dedication right there. That's service and that's love of America. Right there.
It starts with a father who is committed to our country and committed to service and committed to family. And that's where Dad was. He was a military police officer while he was in the military, and then the chief of detectives of our hometown for 17 years, and then a private investigator after that. So he had a 47-year career in law enforcement of some capacity, with stories that go on for a lifetime.
Oh, I can only imagine that in itself is a series of books in the making, right? I love that. And your heart to serve. And with your family's heart to serve, and then now you're helping out with the Veterans Ranch. What drew you to the Veterans Ranch? What really made you say, because there's a lot of organizations out there that you could serve with if you wanted to serve veterans. Why did you choose the ranch?
Well, a lot of us suffer from PTSD related situations that occurred, or PTSD generating situations that occurred while we were in the military. And there really isn't a great process for treating that. One, in order for you to really receive good good collective treatment that works, One, the VA just gives you medications for it. It says, here, go home and don't dream while you sleep. But there aren't really too many organizations out there that deal specifically with the therapy required for managing PTSD and the group of people that are required to collaborate with who are suffering from similar situations. And unless you were with a squad that all had something happen at the same time in the same situation, your situation is different. And in most cases with PTSD, your perception that other people can relate to your situation, even if they were in the military, is also possibly askew. So it's very important that there are organizations that can bring solutions into place that, one, allow us to become connected in ways, and in this case with horses, to be connected in ways with solutions that can help us to become more calm and peaceful about the things that have occurred in our past. And the Veterans Ranch opens up an opportunity through equine therapy to provide that kind of support, training, counseling, and emotional benefit through the use of horses in the ranch. And when JR and I started talking about the benefits of this, it kind of tuned right in with other future visions I want to have to help support veterans as well. I've wanted to build a community for a long time where, with tiny homes that veterans could come and live in a community of other veterans who are also suffering from things like PTSD, and to help to reduce homelessness in the population. And in that same regard, have them have an opportunity to be able to work in the community that they're currently living in. And this opens up a potential opportunity for that to occur. We have another colleague who has a nonprofit that's already doing the tiny home situations for veterans, who's a prior active duty Army sergeant. And so collectively, I think having a group of people along this line that can work together to provide a mission and a vision towards the support and care of individuals who have served our country in a way that other people can't understand.
Absolutely. And I know, I did not serve myself. My son, like I said, served, and I worried what's going to happen, when he comes out, what's it's going to be like, what experiences. And like you said, everybody's experience is unique, whether they served during wartime or not. They've all been exposed to different things. And when they come back, sometimes they need some help. And
That's
sometimes, it's drugs aren't always the answer. And just talking isn't always the answer either. Sometimes that's overwhelming too. And I think that's the unique opportunity with the equine therapy is, an opportunity to bond with another creature that just loves you for who you are. Right?
Yep.
You don't have to say a word.
Nope, they get it. And if you watch some of the videos of horses and how they communicate with people, since I joined supporting the Veterans Ranch, I've noticed that my feed has been filled more with equine therapy related organizations or horse related programs. And in monitoring some of those, you notice that some of these trainers who have dealt with horses with PTSD, that the techniques that they use are very similar to how we actually treat other vets. And so the horses are essentially reading, they inherently understand, unless they've been through problems of their own, they inherently understand how to provide support. And it's really unique to watch.
It is. And I gotta say, when I met JR and I was realizing here's an opportunity to get involved in something. And I really think that's a great way to give back to your community. But it's also, when we can focus outward, then we're less focused inward. Right. Mm-hmm. And it kind of pulls us out of ourselves. And a lot of times our military men and women have developed a sense of independence. right? And that's a hard thing to let go. So when you're struggling and you want to be independent at the same time, how do you put those in the same space, right? So there's an opportunity here with working with the horses where you can kind of deal with some of those struggles that you've got without having to give up your independence either. So I really appreciate what's going on with the ranch, and I'm excited about the future and where it's coming from and where we're going. And so you might have noticed I've been scrolling across the bottom. You can sponsor a horse over at the veteransranch.org. That's a great way to get involved. And there's a lot of other ways you can get involved too. So if this sounds like something that's singing to your heart, reach out. Kyle would love to talk to you. I'd love to talk to you. We both serve on the board of directors there at the Veterans Ranch, and we would love to bring more people in that are passionate about helping veterans. So if that's you, reach out. We'd love to talk.
It really doesn't take much to support a horse in the Veterans Ranch. It's a very inexpensive cost per person to sponsor a horse. Collectively, those sponsorships sponsor a single horse. It takes between $1,000 and $1,200 a month just to care and feed for a horse in a normal situation, until there's a necessity for, something that's happened with a horse and it needs a good vet bill, which can crank up dollars pretty quickly. So receiving support in small amounts from a large group of people is how we succeed in this organization. And it is very important. We're going to have a future event as the Veterans Ranch is preparing to move from Florida to Texas. We're in that process right now and trying to raise money to complete that. We're in the acquisition process of a large ranch that'll more than likely be to the west of Fort Worth, Texas. That ranch will have a monument that will be built in the entrance of that. As you come into the ranch, you'll see this large monument that honors the Veterans Ranch and the sponsors who have sponsored that organization. And pretty soon you'll have an opportunity to actually engrave yourself into the footprint of the ranch. That'll be perpetually immortalized into the engraving of your support. Friends and family for the rest of the lifetime will be able to come by the Veterans Ranch and see that you are a founding member of supporting the development of the Veterans Ranch moving into Texas. So be on the lookout for that via the website as well.
Yeah, we have all sorts of wonderful things planned here for the future, and I look forward to everything that we're going to do. It's going to be amazing impact on the local veterans here in Texas. We don't discriminate. So even if they're veteran and they're not in Texas, they can still come visit. So I think it's going to be wonderful what we can do with it. Kyle, I just want to say thank you for serving with me on the board.
Thank you, Christine. It's a pleasure.
Absolutely. And thank y'all. We reach out anytime. We're all about helping and supporting and serving. So reach out to us and we'd love to talk. Thanks, y'all.
Have a great day.